Saw the trees out front. Did you have a big celebration yesterday?
Yeah, we had our Arbor Day celebration, good turnout, so still some extra trees, so if anybody wanted to take any, feel free to do so. They're red cedar trees, so they do get pretty big, so.
Careful where you plant them.
Mhm. But yeah, anyone's welcome to take the trees and go plant them around, so. Wonderful. All right, well, we got a quorum, so we can get started.
Am I presiding today?
Yeah.
Oh, yay. So, I call this meeting to order. Guess we'll just go to the pledge.
Yep.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, guess it's adoption of the agenda.
Mm-hmm.
Do we need a motion to accept that?
Yes, we need a motion and a second. Where, we know the foot traffic's low, but still, it's like somebody could make that claim and we will have to respond, so that's why we're trying to be proactive.
Yeah, especially if someone's going to the post office from this area.
Exactly, the only sidewalk.
Yeah.
And then we got a new code compliance officer, her name is Viola Rodriguez, so she'll be helping us. Jerry retired. Then we're just about done with the 99E multi-use path in front of the sidewalk. We're gonna put some plastic ballards because people were driving off the trail, yeah, so we figured out hopefully stop them, but yeah, that's my only report.
Guess we're on to new business.
Yeah. Sidewalks priority planning. So with the completion of that multi-use path and the completion of our transportation system plan being right around the corner, we want to get ideas on which parts of town needs a sidewalk further, because one of the nice things with the TSP plan, we could apply for the Surface Transportation Block Grant, STVG grant. And essentially through ODOT, we get a small grant and we could improve sidewalks. There's also the small city allotment grant. We tried using the small city allotment grant for our sidewalks between 99th E and the Old Mill, where there's that ditch. But unfortunately, with like the ditch, the water, and the slope, it just was too much. So that's been sort of sidelined for now. But so one of the things for the downtown development committee, and I printed out different pages of parts of town, is recognizing, okay, where do we see as a high priority, like we want a sidewalk here. The big thing is cracks and roots. So a good example along Birdfoot between Blackberry and Old Church, where there's that looks like that office building type and then a residential. There was a tree there and the roots have really up. Now the city code says we're not going to, as a city, say you're forced to do this, but we put the liability on them that if somebody trips and falls, you're at risk. So what they did is they put yellow paint on all the cracks to indicate there's cracks there. So that's the big thing is cracks, tripping hazards. And then the second thing would be like if there's heavy snowfall day, but chances of that are very slim. I mean, and even if for some reason we had a snowfall, just about everything here shuts down. So I don't think anyone would be walking.
Yeah.
So.
Or probably ice or something like it.
Mhm.
So you brought up an interesting point. So if that increases traffic, so the liability falls on the property owner, then if this increases traffic and someone gets hurt there.
Correct. Now, if they get hurt, as in like, let's just say it was poorly maintained and there was a crack, but it was like a kid rolling around, gets hurt just because they stumbled on something while they're messing around. But it was not because of the sidewalk. Then it's not.
mainly where on this last page, Highway 99 and North Lake Creek, the sidewalk ends, I think, where the trees are with the big white building on the bottom right.
Correct.
And then from there, there's a sidewalk down by the seed warehouses, but then there's no sidewalk underneath the bridge. And so like I see people with like wheelchairs and strollers, and they're having to walk on the highway to get under the bridge. And when they're like passing these spots, there's like no like real handicap or baby accessible or bike riding. Like everyone has to walk on the highway. So I think that would be like the prime spot to address having like a real good bike path, or at least like maybe just a sidewalk under the bridge. And then like, I don't think we have to go too crazy on sidewalks and like fancy paths. I think we should look at what we got with these little park pathways where it's just like flat asphalt. If we could just add some asphalt to the side of some of our roads, like along 99 and this spot right here, for instance, where the sidewalk ends, if we could just have a pathway where to me, having just an extension of asphalt is like an emergency lane where people can pull over if like the ambulance and fire truck are going through, which happens like multiple times a day. There's really not behind the mailboxes and improve the drainage a little bit, like added a pipe. And I don't think we have to go too.
Real careful, because we have certain drainage areas on that property. If you're trying to create more turnouts, then you're starting to get into required drainage and stuff like that, so.
That's the thing,
And I know ours is right near that property line.
It's just break something, like a concrete, like I was just imagining.
I was thinking, I
flat
think
and
we
stuff.
talked to ODOT on that, if you're gonna do anything on Highway 9.
I mean, definitely you all want to forward, but yeah, ODOT will have that final say.
So I don't know if it's even worth, I mean, other ways telling grants and stuff and telling their issues and work on turnouts and stuff, but they're not gonna allow just asphalt on the side.
Or what would a bike path be, where it's just like,
So $11. I mean, you're talking 88, talking ODOT. That's just, and you have to redo all the drainage on the front. Because right now it's all set to go a certain area that's near the front of that property and down the sides, so that would be really hard to set that.
so I thought the drain was having it like across the whole town where.
I'll let him speak to the end, because I know he knows more than that.
Where, you know, so there could be like foot traffic and bike traffic.
The big thing I feel like, especially the sidewalk where there's the school bus stop, that's a good start. That's something a little bit more manageable. Just because it's gonna be small projects, it won't be major ones. The major ones, we could still list them, but that'll be a ODOT, the big one.
I
And
feel
you
like
can-
they get the entire, you worked with ODOT more than I have, I feel like they get to tell you how it's gonna be and you have to abide by it, because that's a state highway.
No, I'm not expecting this to be quick, like the way ODOT works, like, it's like a 5-year plan and it'll get done in like 20.
True, but we also don't get a say on what ODOT wants.
Oh, yeah, totally. I just, like, so my impression, correct me if I'm wrong, but we're like trying to establish like a long-term plan, right? Where we're trying to figure out where like the essentially bikes and people who are trying to travel who don't have the ability to like step over a curb or. I would absolutely love a lane where I could skateboard down Tangent Drive because when I like walk my dog, I skateboard and I have to like bounce back and forth between the lanes of travel and like dodge cars and stuff like that and just try to kind of avoid it during high traffic times for running.
Yeah,
Because there's just nowhere to go on the road to get past the bridge and the train tracks.
Extension Drive, that's definitely on our list, and good news too, we're gonna have a meeting with the council about a potential change to Canton Drive and hopefully get that funded, because now the county's going to get a grant for it.
I think it would be fun, because isn't that property on the other side of the tracks? That new park?
Yep.
It'd be nice if maybe we had a walkway to follow that creek a little bit somehow. Like, it'd be away from the road.
So, yeah,
More foot traffic. Just like we've seen.
Well, like the USDA and bird sites.
That was what I was kind of looking at, I wondered if that was a.
yep, and that's where we do have the one crosswalk already there.
Right.
So,
I think the post office might get between the post office and people just going for walks. And then that's what I've noticed the most being right there in the. Oh, and then a lot of people going down to the saloon for like lunch or music and stuff.
mhm.
To me, those would be the, in my opinion, those are high priority, when we're already having the most foot traffic.
Which one?
That's what I was asking, which one actually sees the most foot traffic already?
center divide stuff, crosswalk in the highway, mainly being that it's interference with extremely large farm equipment where farmers used to be able to like travel farm equipment down that, and now it's like, and also like oversized homes from the manufacturing and stuff. I think we were like an alternative route, if I'm not mistaken, for oversized stuff, and that I don't know if it blocks it at all. Might be mistaken, but so I think that it's just good to be mindful of like oversized equipment when we're like making these pathways. We should make it as accessible for everyone and not like a hindrance or like causing accidents from
Well, yeah,
stuff like that.
we're looking out for the safety.
Yeah.
Totally.
So there is like some issue right here, if I might bring it up, like with the Dixie and the late night crowd, like I experienced a lot of like street racing stuff going on right there, and like people doing donuts and losing control and crashing, and you know, there's all, we should be mindful too that there's like sheriffs and stuff that sometimes are doing like almost 100 miles an hour through town here, and then there's also um, just people who are traveling really fast. And like to me, the dream would be like we have like big speed bumps or somehow slow them down to like 25. But then it also is like messing up, you know, heavy rigs and the sheriff and these emergency vehicles, which, you know, like sometimes they're going to like help a kid that's like got swept away in the river. So it's like really important that they're able to travel through town efficiently and not block them and block people from getting out of the way. But at the same time, it's like, you know, at some points we do want protection so we don't have cars coming off the road and going through houses or businesses. Like somebody accidentally, like, you know, just losing control. Like for instance, if I may put, like I had a car when I first moved in that they fell asleep at the wheel and took out the power pole and barrel rolled their car and took out the pump house, and like it flew like at least 100 feet, and went in between the trees that were there, and it was pretty wild. Luckily they're okay because they were asleep, and so, but like cars do come off the road and they like, you know, go all over the place. So
So the nice part with the downtown development is that we're gonna have this street light, and we have sidewalks, we're eligible for opportunities like what Halsey did with their downtown, where they got them sidewalks and everything, so it's all part of a bigger plan, but,
my thought with that is instead of developing so much money on a pathway where there's a high rate of accidents and vehicles and stuff like that, is we should move our pathways off the beaten path just a little bit if we can. Like for our bike path through town and like where people would want to go walk their dog. Cause like our little pathway through that one property, people love that thing. I love it. Like it's really nice to go through a scenic area like that. And so like my first thought is, I think it actually might be on the picture, is the old Dixie Creek out there. What is that creek called? Little creek that's underneath the Dixie Creek. Anyway, that creek needs to be like cleaned out, like, very much so. It's got, you know, it's from years of stuff flowing down it and all that. That would be a prime spot where if we could somehow get like a bike path following the creek, because creeks are great, you know, for walking and stuff. And yeah, I just feel like that would be so great for the community. Like instead of walking over and having to go across the road and the highway, if they wanted to get down to the post office from the HOA neighborhood and the manufactured home in that direction, they could go down
Anything on the agenda?
And that was the only item of business today. So,
Okay.
and then the next one will be a little bit more on this, and then hopefully we'll have an update about the street lights. So,
Okay. Did you, sorry to go off the agenda, are we working with Pacific Power or is it with the engineers now?
it's the engineers. So they did a light study already one night. I think it was after a council meeting. They were just up and down Highway 99E just to check on the lighting conditions. And they're going to come up with their suggestions, and then we'll move to the next step. So
Well, so what's going on with this?
the lighting, the engineers are looking at potential locations for where to recommend putting the lights. So
Why would, or is that like money that we could be spending on like a pathway or something? Or
separate funding. So
it's a separate fund?
correct.
It was pretty inexpensive when we looked at it. It wasn't bad at all.
Wasn't bad
I
at
know, I
all.
was shocked at how low it
Or how
was.
much, how much were those two street lamps that we got out there?
Those, I believe Pacific Power put out, so I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah.
The big thing is whatever we put up, there's a small cost, but it was small enough where I don't have the numbers. And then
Yeah.
if there was any existing Pacific Power poles that they just add a light, no cost to us. So
It was pretty reasonable. I felt like I looked at it and I was like, well, it was way better than I thought it was gonna be.
Right.
Then we sat down and talked with them. And there really no financial impact to the community, which is great.
that was a big,
That's good.
Mhm.
But I mean, if I may personally, like those two street poles are like the worst thing that's ever happened here
which
for living here. Getting those two street lamps out there, because you used to be able to walk outside and it was like the most beautiful thing ever. This starry, beautiful night. You could just like go for a walk down the sidewalk, and it was so beautiful at night. And now there's just like it's as well the USDA building has put in like these high output LED lights or some sort of super bright lights, and then the seed warehouse building has like some massive grow light up there that's just like on 24/7. It's like the light pollution is very quickly getting out of hand, I feel like.
It's for safety too and security of properties. Most
Yeah.
businesses are gonna light up their property because they don't want people breaking in. When it's dark, that encourages crime.
and
on
that's
each of them.
one thing we're looking at the LED lights to reduce the light pollution. So
It would be really nice if it was on sensors or something, and so it wasn't like, because I mean, I felt like we were doing extremely well as a city for like not interrupting this whole like bird migration and like just being a town that's not like having constant energy consumption. And I don't know, I just feel like with street lights, it would be really nice if we focused on like a more quaint look. Like I always imagine like smaller, like well-lit pathways instead of like these massive.
And
so
that's what the engineers are doing, because if you don't have an engineer, we could be at huge risk because they're gonna pick, or the right, is it lumens? I'm probably using the wrong.
yeah, the
thing.
lumens.
Oh, that's what he said, because if you have a certain amount, you could have accidents. So that's where the engineers are gonna tell us
And the nice part
which
too,
one. We don't make that decision, because if you go too low, you could probably get in trouble for less visibility. Go too high, there's a whole another kettle of fish. So you don't.
and the nice part, we had already agreed before the downtown development committee, before you joined it, for this south side, is going to be just more decorative lighting, not the big one. So
Probably not the big, probably more in our industrial where people are still slowing down.
mhm.
Well, we'll leave it to the engineer. I'm not an expert.
But that'll be potentially the next meeting. So we could save that for the next meeting when the engineer hopefully has his reports up.
When that one's been what we heard is one of the biggest complaints. It's safety with the lights and all that.
Mhm.
I mean,
Sounds
each
good.
business has definitely put in their own just to deter crime, but everybody's switching out to LEDs. It's pretty energy efficient. Energy Trust has big rebates for that.
Exactly.
So I think a lot of people have taken advantage of that.
Okay. Sounds good. All right. I think we're ready to adjourn
Great.
then. So thank you, everybody.
Do I get to click on?
Yep.
We're adjourned. When is the next meeting, Jeff?